Hi everyone, welcome to this reading. So I have my crystal ball off to the side. I will be scrying throughout this message. If you're new to my channel, my readings are a little different. If you're returning, welcome back. You know how we do. If it doesn't resonate with you, if you're forcing the story to fit, arguing with it in any way, just leave it behind for the people who it's meant for. So channel members, you guys will have your second in the 5-part book series. We'll post on Sunday, so keep an eye out for that. And if you're part of the High Priestess tier, you guys will have your next video in the 3-month glow up series using Microhabits on Sunday as well. Okay, let's go ahead. Okay, taking a step aside. And allowing spirit to pass through me. Opening up to receive information. One of the things that I'm seeing as I'm opening up to this energy, I'm seeing a pinwheel, and the pinwheel has on each little blade, it has a different color, and the wind is kind of like blowing this pinwheel so that it's going very fast. Some of you may feel that there's a lot of different themes that are coming up quickly in conjunction to one another, and this all seems to serve this sort of heart space, either entering a heart-spaced era. So some of you may be okay, they're telling me not to go into that, a heart-spaced era, or you may be working through heart-related issues, so heart-related themes. Okay. I'm almost feeling a threshold energy as I'm looking at this particular card. And the reason why I'm feeling this threshold energy is that there's two people inside of this boat and they're swimming along this river, but rather than seeing it as a couple that's in a boat, it's really making me think of the Six of Swords, which is moving away from something or moving towards something. With the nest that's around this too, that's also like a threshold energy for me because there's something very similar to that in the threshold card from this deck. So we're on the brink of something heart-related that maybe we haven't experienced before, or it's a new way of opening up our heart in some way. Life is blossoming. That's kind of what I heard as soon as I saw the flowers on that part of the card. Okay, we have the Ten of Cups. So this is about our happiness and what happiness means in conjunction to that heart space. For some of you, this is about being more joyful inside of your life, and this may be something that you've been working on, the things that you do to fill your own cup. For some of you, this is really the type of relationships that you've idealized, right? The things that you think should be part of your life in terms of family, friends, lovers. And I see that this individual on this card is really reaching up for this cup. And that cup, again, it's a green cup. Green is very symbolic of the heart space. And I don't know if she's pulling it down or if she's lifting it up. I think that in some ways, if she's lifting it up, she's also pulling something down to her. So in raising the vibration of someone's heart space, it's as though they're manifesting something into tangible reality for themselves. Now, I'm being drawn to the fact that she's wearing this color red, so this is something that she's very passionate about. Okay. We have the Six of Pentacles. For some of you, the focus is on giving and receiving. It's on reciprocity within the heart space energy. That's a perfect energy for the heart space since it is about giving and receiving. And I think that a lot of you have been working on establishing balance within that field. When we don't have balance in those energies, this is what really makes us wounded, right? Whether if we're the ones kind of starved of that energy, we become wounded. If the one's giving too much of that energy, we become depleted. If we are someone who's only receiving and we don't give, then we have something that we're protecting, right? And when we have that protection and it's bolstered by more energy, that protection actually grows. And it's a way that makes us very inaccessible to others. And in that way, we wound ourselves by not strengthening our connections. This particular individual on here, this little boy, he's asleep. And so what that tells me is that whoever this message is for, you've been on a little bit of a time out from whatever this is in reference to. So if it's in reference to, for example, romantic relationships, maybe you haven't been in one for a while. You might have taken a time out. If this is friendships, maybe you've taken a time out from that. He's representing for me this sort of masculine principle of action. We're not necessarily doing anything. This is period where he's the one that's asleep and she's the one that's awake. She's the one that's lifting up her heart. So this tells me that someone has gone within to heal, taken some time for themselves to heal something. Okay, and it's bringing us to this Five of Pentacles. One of the things that someone is trying to heal here is this energy of lack, or an energy of abandonment, being left out, always being on the outside looking in. Very interesting thing that's standing out to me about this are the three dogs. So for some of you, you may be working with a deity like Hecate. For some of you, you may be working with any other deity that works with crossroads. Some of you, that might not be your story. You may recognize yourself as having, for example, dog or wolf medicine, or a power animal, right? Some sort of animal spirit that you're working with that may be canine in nature. Some of you may be working with the deity Anubis. The dog's just really standing out to me, which is why I'm running through this list. And it doesn't mean that if that doesn't resonate with you that it's not your reading. It's just those dogs definitely mean something for a lot of people that are going to watch this. More specifically, this card is really telling me something about the energy of lack, right? Maybe you found yourself in this sort of desperation energy where I need this to fulfill me, in which case this woman who's awake, this little girl that's awake, are more nurturing, caring, receptive natures have been filling our own cup so that we don't have that energy. For some of you, the lesson has been how to curb the giving, right? To how to hold back a little bit. I do feel that there's this energy of always being left out that is coming in, and that this isn't necessarily just related to your friendships and your romantic relationships. This may be something that affects all areas of your life for whoever I'm reading this for. The work has been to build a solid foundation in self. So this is sitting between the Ten of Cups and the Six of Pentacles, with both this like inner child female, inner child boy. And this is with the Four of Wands. This is about the stability that we create. This can definitely be home foundations. Remember that this is really in reference to the explorer who comes to a new land. And so this tells me about early roots, right? There may be something in our early experiences that really cultivated this Five of Pentacles energy. And this is what somebody has been focused on. Here with the Eight of Swords, this may be an area where somebody felt like they were trapped. They didn't know how to necessarily get out of this energy. For some of you, the energy was feeling trapped, feeling controlled, feeling like you didn't have a say. Okay, let's see. And then on the bottom here, if you have been working through this energy and you have isolated any feelings of need or lack or abandonment or not having control, I see that someone is completing the work of wrapping that storyline up for themselves with the world. Notice how this little boy is almost like a mixture of the little girl and the little boy. It's a little boy, but he's wearing the red that the little girl was wearing. And so I see that almost as this sort of merging of these two opposites that has taken place, which is what the world traditionally means. It's gone through a process of alchemy so that the salt and sulfur and mercury have now unified into the Philosopher's Stone. What we have here, let's see, that feels really important. So the continent of Africa just stood out to me, so that may be important for somebody. I almost feel that somebody might be traveling. 2 and 1, there's something about having split off in order to focus on the self that has taken place in the past, and they're bringing me up into the 5 and 1 in order to change something within the self. There's a lot of number 5 showing up in terms of the Roman numerals that are here. Out of 6 cards, 4 of them have a Roman numeral 5 in it. So there's the number 5, the number 6, the number 4, the number 8. There's something about V, so greater than, less than. It's almost like there are ways in the past that we either treated ourselves as though we were greater than and also at the same time less than. So for example, in a relationship, this can manifest as someone who views... Okay, hear me out. Some people go through life viewing their relationships as their assignments, right? Really step back and think about what that is saying. Really step back. If you are somebody who does that, just think about that. And then in the context of those assignments, they really put their needs on the back shelf, right? So there's that greater than, less than energy. It's something like that. There may have been something here where a person had, felt that they had to fix somebody, but then in the process of being in this situation where they feel they have to fix somebody, they also put their needs on a shelf. So it's that greater than, less than energy. Here we have the Page of Swords. This was part of what somebody had to learn, was how to take that dynamic, which is just a toxic setup, out of the equation, right? Equal to, this is what we're going for, right? With the Page of Swords, somebody had to learn, and it was a very heavy lesson. The reason why I'm saying that is because if you look at this little character, that sword is pretty big. That sword's pretty big for him. And notice how there's a cliff on one side. So at any moment, that sword could have toppled this character off of the cliff. So what they had to learn was how to not fall over the cliff. It's quite possible that, if this is in conjunction to, for example, romantic relationships or any kind of relationships, really, it's heart-centered. This may have been a cycle that somebody got into where every time it would kind of go by the wayside, their life would fall apart, right? So this is learning how to stand on your own feet and strengthen those stability muscles, right? Those calves, in terms of a solid personal foundation so that the big lessons don't knock you down. Okay. And then we have the Hierophant again, the lesson showing up. I feel that I'm reading it this way. So there's something here that we have learned. We're wrapping that up, and now we're going into a higher level lesson. And when I say higher level lesson, it's not something that is arising out of some sort of wounding that we still carry, right? This particular Hierophant always speaks to me about something quite mysterious. So I want a little bit of clarification on this. Okay, I'm getting the Four of Swords, the card of healing, and then the Lovers. This is a lesson about healing the energy of love, healing someone's view of love. Maybe you are somebody that grew up and you always saw like toxic relationships around you, or the storylines that you gravitated towards inside of the shows that you loved. Maybe they were very codependent or unrealistic, idealized relationships, right? Versions of love. There's something about having a healthy relationship to the energy of love that is coming in this next lesson that someone is stepping into. And if you don't recognize that as you, this may not be your reading, because I don't feel that this is necessarily entirely predictive. This portion here is saying that this is what someone is already starting to see, that they're coming into a space where they're learning about healthy love, not learning it in this hard way that they've learned it in the past because they've wrapped that up. Now they're stepping into an energy where they can learn that in a much smoother way because they're experiencing it. Okay. Now, inside this experience, we do have the Six of Wands. This is the energy of success. And so there's an advice that's coming through in that. I want to pull two more cards. Okay, so we have Six of Wands. At the bottom of the cup, we have the Six of Cups. So that strong bond, that strong connection. Now, that sort of innocence, right? That's the card in Rider-Waite, Pamela Coleman Smith, where we see the little boy giving the little girl a cup, or she's giving it to him, who knows? But here with the Six of Wands to the Ten of Pentacles to the Five of Wands, I'm just going to tell you the energy that this means when it's all combined together like this, because I don't feel I'm supposed to read it individually. This is coming through as some sort of advice that because we've had this struggle, there may be a tendency to look for a goal, right? Like, I'm looking for the goal of commitment. I'm looking for the goal of marriage. I'm looking for the goal of that 1 year anniversary. And to remember that you're dealing with a person, not a goal. What happens when we focus on the goal is we start to apply pressure, and that pressure may be unwarranted. Obviously, if you're like, together for a while and this person's not committing to you, it's really up to you to have healthy boundaries, right? It shouldn't hurt you that it's going slow if you're not giving things away. Okay, I'm being told to take one more card. Okay. So here we have a card that is coming out that's mentor. It's interesting because it's not even the mentor idea that's really standing out to me right now so much as it is this nebula. And if you look at it, it's almost heart-shaped, right? And it's crowned by this owl. So this is about heart wisdom, exercising wisdom over this sort of heart space energy. this is what's going to be important inside of this next phase as you learn about healthy love. I think a lot of you are going to be doing that. But for some of you, it's going to be something that you have to constantly remind yourself of. How do I exercise wisdom in this situation? What would the healthiest version of myself do in this situation? Would I go with it really quickly and just because I feel like I want to? Or would I put the brakes on it just a little bit in order to tell myself, hey, I need to learn here. I need to practice wisdom. This is really going to be the challenge for somebody. Okay. What else? There's something else here. What is this? For some of you, if you are in the collective that has recently picked up something from the past that was part of you that you put behind for a little while, and you feel that you've plugged back into a part of yourself, this, whatever it is, if it's art, if it's like a lot of you, I know it's been magically related, whatever it is, because it is such a part of your vital essence and your vital nature, by re-emerging inside of this authenticity of your own and filling up your own personal like energy box, right? Because it feels like part of that was missing for a little while. By filling up that box, it's almost like the box has to grow, and when it has to grow, it has to incorporate new energy. It's almost like because you are allowing yourself to be your full self, this is calling something in, and so that's why this reading is coming out. Okay, so I'm going to leave that there. I think that's all I'm going to get. If this reading resonates with you, please hit that like button. Feel free to leave me a comment, and until next time.